Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are breaking down the high wire act that is modern IT leadership. It's this constant balancing act where just one tiny misstep, well, it can have catastrophic consequences for the entire business.
Okay, let's just start with the stakes, because they have never, ever been higher. We're not talking about small inconveniences here. For almost half of all big companies, a single hour of being down costs over $1 million. And that's not just lost sales, that's a huge hit to productivity, to your customers' trust, and to your brand's reputation. And that massive financial risk, well, it brings us right to the heart of the challenge. This constant, high-stakes balancing act. It really is like walking a tightrope, where you're juggling three powerful competing forces that are always trying to pull you off balance. And what are those three forces? They are resilience, performance, and cost. You have to have an unbreakable defense, you have to deliver a flawless user experience, and you need smart financial control, all at the exact same time. One wrong move in any of these directions, and the whole thing can come crashing down. So let's break down how to master this walk pillar by pillar. First up, resilience. In today's world, this means so much more than just, recovering from a server failure. It's about surviving sophisticated, targeted attacks that are literally designed to bring your entire business to its knees. Now, this number right here, it reveals a fundamental shift in how cyber attacks work. See, attackers know your backups are your escape hatch, so they don't just encrypt your main systems anymore. No, now they actively hunt down and try to destroy your safety net first. And if they succeed, you've got no choice but to pay up. So, to build the right defense, you have to start by answering two really critical questions. And the first one isn't even a technical question, it's a business question. How much data can you really afford to lose? The answer is going to determine everything. How often you need to back up. Are we talking every hour, every 15 minutes, or does it need to be down to the second? And that brings us to the two core metrics that basically define your entire disaster recovery strategy. You've got your recovery point objective, or RPO, which is all about data. How much can you lose? And then there's the recovery time objective, or RTO, which is all about time. How fast do you need to be back up and running? For a big online store, the RTO might be a few minutes, but the RPO for their customer database, that's got to be almost zero. You have to define both for every single critical system. Now, to hit those RTO and RPO goals in today's world, you need modern strategies. The two most powerful are air-gapped backups and immutable backups. Think of an air gap as total isolation. The data is literally disconnected, so attackers can't get to it. Immutability is a bit different. The data stays online, but it's made completely tamper-proof. It's locked in a digital vault, and no one, not even you, can change or delete it for a set period. But here's the best part. You don't have to choose one or the other. In fact, you shouldn't. The most resilient strategies use both. You use those immutable backups for super fast, almost instant recovery, while you keep the air-gapped copies for that ultimate, worst-case scenario insurance policy. It's a layered defense that protects you from pretty much everything. You see, building true resilience isn't a one-time project. It's a continuous cycle. You isolate your data for safety, you make it immutable so it can't be corrupted, you automate the recovery process to get back online in minutes, and then, this is the crucial part, you test it, constantly, so you know for a fact it's going to work when you need it most. Okay, pillar number 2. Let's talk about performance. Because, while resilience keeps your business alive, it's that flawless performance that keeps your customers happy and keeps them coming back. The key here is to shift from being reactive to being proactive. Traditional monitoring, well, it just shows you symptoms after the damage is done. An alert pops up that a server is slow. Digital experience monitoring, or DEM, is totally different. It focuses on the user's actual journey, connecting what's happening on the back end with what a real person is experiencing, click by click. To really manage performance well, your IT and business teams have got to be speaking the same language. There has to be a clear line from the big business goals all the way down to the nitty-gritty technical details. And that's where these concepts, SLAs, SLOs, and SLIs, become so important. So how do these three things fit together? Think of it like a pyramid. At the very bottom, you have your SLIs, or service level indicators. These are the raw numbers, like page load time. In the middle, you have your SLOs, your service level objectives. These are your internal goals, like we want 95% of pages to load in under 2 seconds. And at the very top is the SLA, the service level agreement. That's the promise you actually make to your customer. Your indicators measure your objectives, which makes sure you meet your agreements. Simple as that. And look, when you get this right, the results aren't just technical. They have a direct, measurable impact on the business. Companies that do this well resolve issues way faster, which means fewer problems ever even reach the customer. And ultimately, way fewer customers leave. It's a win-win. Okay, finally, let's talk about the balancing pole that makes this whole tightrope act possible, smart economics. Because let's be real, you can have the most resilient, fastest system in the world, but if it's not financially sustainable, it's just not going to last. In the cloud era, the framework for this is called FinOps, and it's not just some tool you buy. It's a cultural shift. It's about giving your engineering teams the visibility and the accountability to make smart financial choices, so they can balance that need for speed and quality with the reality of the budget. So where is all this money actually going? Well, it's rarely one big glaring mistake. More often than not, it's death by a thousand cuts. We're talking about servers that are way too big for their workload, storage just sitting there doing nothing but racking up charges, and using expensive high-performance storage for data you barely even touch. Tackling this waste requires a systematic process. It's not just about turning a few things off. It means right-sizing everything, using the right pricing models for the job, actively managing your storage, constantly monitoring your spending, and, maybe most important of all, thinking about cost from day one when you design a new system. And here's a fantastic real-world example of that. Managing storage costs is a huge headache, but instead of doing it manually, you can use a service like Amazon's S3 intelligent tiering. It just watches your data and automatically moves it to the cheapest storage tier based on how often it's used. It's brilliant, and it's all done for you with zero effort. So, how do we bring this all together? How do you stop feeling like you're walking a tightrope and start building a truly stable platform for your business to grow on? Well, the secret is realizing that these